Hey everybody, it's Chainsaw Reacts back once again with another reaction for you guys. We are here, guys, with the series finale of Ben 10 Alien Force. It's crazy to say that. This, of course, is part 2 to what I just saw a few minutes ago, which was part 1. I think it was called The Final Battle. Regardless, I think that's the title. But anyways, the important thing is this. This is not only concluding what I just finished a few minutes ago in terms of this whole entire crazy setup of the Ultimatrix and VILGAX'S and Albedo working together and all this kind of stuff, and Ben actually losing and taking off the Omnitrix. We actually see how he takes off the Omnitrix. The fact that this episode here is the series finale, the ending of another Ben 10 series. Thankfully, we have Ultimate Alien. Thankfully, we have Omniverse. We still have plenty of stuff to get to in terms of this continuity of this franchise, of these series. But it's crazy to think that this is the second Ben 10 show I am now concluding on the channel. A series like Ben 10 and all that I thought was not going to win the poll, like whenever that I think it was like ending of 2021 or something. Ben 10 was put on as a wild card and it won, and it was winning the whole entire time that poll was out. I didn't think it was going to win it all. I thought it'd be like, and we'll see, because people were referencing Ben 10. I was like, oh, okay, fine, I'll add it. And now look, I'm now finishing the sequel series to Ben 10 Alien Force right now. It's crazy. It's crazy. Alien Force, as I was mentioning kind of in part 1's intro, that Alien Force has been quite a journey, and I'm not ready for this part of, you know, the series, the franchise to end, because I've been really enjoying it, but like, I'm really curious how Ultimate Alien is going to do compared to this, because like, is it because the Ultimatrix is being introduced, this supposed like improvement of the Omnitrix or something? I'm like, what, there's an improvement? Azmuth made an improvement to it? So Azmuth has been working on how to improve the Omnitrix, or at least what he thinks is an improvement, and that shepherds in a new series. That's interesting, because we saw Albedo turn into the ultimate version of Humongosaur, and Ben's like, I've taken on guys tougher than you, and he gets his ass handed to him. And then there's VILGAX'S, and he has to get the Omnitrix up, which the voice command, that's still like throwing me off. Like he did a voice command, but it also makes sense how that worked. And I'm guessing, still theorizing, Azmuth is the one who took it off, but that's just me theorizing in terms of when he wanted it off between Classic and Alien Force. We'll see what happens. Ben's in a really bad situation here. I don't know what he's going to do. He should have listened to Max, but that's Ben for you. That is Ben for you. I'm not ready for the show to end, but also knowing that there is more to go. Like, it's not like to where this is the end of a show, because usually when I end a show, there's no sequel show. You know, like when I've ended Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which of course ended abruptly early. When I've finished Spectacular Spider-Man, there wasn't more seasons to go. There wasn't a sequel series. In this case, there is still more series to go with these characters and continuing on past this point, thankfully. So it's a weird situation where I'm ending a show, but there's also right around the corner a new show. So let's dive into now, guys. Let's check it out. The series finale of Ben 10 Alien Force. Let's dive in, guys. Let's see what they show us. Let's go. It's the end of the show for now. What are those robots or whatever?
You've won so many battles, but the war is mine. I have beaten you, Ben Tennyson. You have nothing.
He's got friends.
Here he comes. Oh shit.
And our alliance has served its purpose.
Are they gonna fight each other now? Oh shit.
Our agreement? There's been a change in plan.
There's always a change.
Keeping the Omnitrix. We had a deal.
Of course you did. You shouldn't have trusted him.
Humongosaur.
Holy shit. He's gonna... Rockets. Oh my god. Yep, being overwhelmed. Humongosaur. They're still coming.
Humongosaur.
You're screwed.
We're this planet's last hope. Next time we meet him, I want it to be on our terms.
Exactly.
It's hopeless. VILGAX'S
It's not hopeless.
with all of my powers.
What?
Come back.
Okay, for some reason I was trying to pause and it wasn't allowing me to. Why the hell would Ben run away? I don't understand the logic behind why he would run away at this moment. It doesn't make sense to me. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. This is really confusing. Why would he run away? But anyways, we're gonna get back to this.
I don't deserve that. It belongs to a hero.
You are a hero. You had to make a choice.
And how many of those times was the Omnitrix out of power or broken?
It almost never works right. What's your point?
It's not the tool, it's the man.
Azmuth, help me!
Azmuth?
You are a fool.
You don't hear me arguing.
Unfortunately, your DNA signature was close enough to Max's that it allowed
We
you
already
to
knew
put it
this,
on.
though.
Why didn't you take it from me?
But then I saw you grow. Witnessed your bravery and ingenuity, using the Omnitrix in ways that never even occurred to me. Disobeying my orders, hacking the Omnitrix.
Turning Kevin into a monster?
Not so easy to win without the Omnitrix.
No. There's a way to trick, maybe. Tricking him somehow?
No. It isn't.
Lovely weather on this world.
Is it? I'm confused.
I've got a plan.
What's the plan? Another trick, I'm guessing, but what? Got him captured.
The Tennyson family and their pet juvenile delinquent.
The pet.
Juvenile?
None of you will live to see the day.
I think that's the longest I've ever been around you without hearing a death threat.
Mocking me.
Bioids.
Yep.
Just a few of the hundreds of thousands I have. Diamond Head! You're going to try a hero's challenge. Fight me one-on-one for the Earth.
Ooh.
Omnitrix, command function override, code 10. Override accepted. Self-destruct in 30 seconds.
What?
Command code 000. Destruct. Take off the Omnitrix or it's gonna blow.
You're bluffing.
Detonation in T-minus 10 seconds.
Oh my god. Oh my god. What was happening? Oh my god, it's destroyed.
I've got a headache like you wouldn't believe.
Oh my god. He's back.
You're human again.
Dude.
Let me show you.
Whoa.
Face it, you're finished.
I am still Vilgax, conqueror of 10 worlds.
Guess who's got his old powers back?
Oh, sweet. Sweet. Ooh. Oh my god, here we go. Here we go.
I'm going to let you go, but I'll be taking your Omnitrix.
Ultimatrix.
Ultimatrix. Self-destruct in 30 seconds. Command
What?
code 000. Ask Vilgax if I'm bluffing.
You're gonna destroy one, destroy the other.
Abort self-destruct. Code 10.
Oh, he's fast. Oh, he's coming in. Oh, ooh.
You and Grandpa get to the control room.
There you go. Look, stop Gwen last time.
We're already in re-entry.
This way to turn around though.
Ultimate swamp fire.
Oh my god. That design. Blue. That's interesting. That's interesting design choice for blue. Okay. Oh my god. What was that? Oh, they're still diving in the ocean. Okay. They're still going. Holy crap.
Fire's not so useful.
Nope.
Now that we're in my element.
Exactly.
A sinking ship is your element?
Now you face the true form of Vilgax.
True form? What? What the fuck? What? What in the hell? Literally Cthulhu, kinda. Oh my god. Oh my god. Dude, that shot. There he is, right? Yeah.
Over here.
Oh, hug it out, hug it out.
He could come back. If he ever does, it's hero time.
And that was the series finale of Ben 10 Alien Force. It is crazy to think that the show's done. Thankfully, we have Ultimate Alien, we have Omniverse, so we still have plenty more to go, but it is crazy to think now that the show is done. And I will say the ending kind of erupt, like just like, oh, okay, done. But I think they already had plans. I'm assuming like there was already like in development of the next show, so it wasn't like it was the ending of this continuity of the franchise or whatever. So it could end that way because there was still more to go. Because essentially, this two-parter was teasing Ultimate Alien because of the fact that the Ultimatrix, which now Ben is using now, because he gambled away the Omnitrix, which is what was kind of already figured out when he was talking to Azmuth, which was a really good conversation. It was one of the best scenes of the episode. So overall, I felt like this was a very crazy and hectic conclusion because part one established Albedo and VILGAX, and opening this episode, Max shows up in his plumber uniform and flying in on a jetpack and everything was really cool. But then Gwen used a spell to get them out because they needed to regroup, they needed to get away because there was no way they were going to take on all these DNA-less robots that VILGAX just has, like an army of a gigantic like amount of them, and he can now use the Omnitrix to turn them into any alien that's unlocked on the Omnitrix right now. And so they had to get out. But then of course VILGAX turns on Albedo, which of course was going to happen because VILGAX says, I don't need the Omnitrix, because Albedo wants it to get back to his actual form because he hates the fact that when he put on his version, the inferior version of the Omnitrix, when we first got introduced to him, it was linked to the Omnitrix that Azmuth made, so he turned into a version of Ben. So essentially like a clone copy of him. Of course, he looks different now because of what happened in the episode that he was introduced, but still give him a point. So he was just bound and determined that that's why he wanted the Omnitrix. But of course, Vilga's like, a change of plans. Turns all of his like robots that are kind of just waiting around to be ordered around to attack the ultimate Humongosaur, as all the Humongosaurs, and they were like, Humongosaur, getting louder and louder and louder. And Albedo got overwhelmed, which I still really like the design of Ultimate Humongosaur. It's really, really cool with the rocket hands and shit, which is interesting because they kind of like had rocket hands on that giant Humongosaur when that toy or whatever had been turning into all different versions of like aliens from Ben's Omnitrix and everything. And there was at one point there was rockets because of course when the Vriedel brothers took the toy, the object, and it came back and everything, it learned how to do violence, it had rockets for hands. So it's like I was thinking like, I remember that happening. It was such a weird visual. Now it's like there's rockets on the Ultimate Humongosaur, like the hands can morph into that. That's kind of crazy. There's like a connection there. So this was kind of them teasing up Ultimate Alien, essentially, because we had Ultimate Swampfire, which I will say I was not expecting to be blue, but then I'm thinking more about it after we see the attack that he uses on Vilgax when he first turns into Ultimate Swampfire. Blue fire, like when flames become blue, that's when they're hot, like their heat level has reached a certain extreme that they actually turn blue. So like that actually kind of makes sense from like the ultimate swamp fire. So like, and the design is kind of crazy too. We got to see ultimate Vilgax, which was kind of a crazy visual. It's like, oh, okay. So he essentially becomes like a giant octopus, a giant kraken, if you will, like Cthulhu, like kind of like going there. And they address the fact that Vilgax will be back again because he's survived worse or whatever. So it's gonna be hero time when he comes back. Yeah, and we'll get to Kevin's transformation in a second because that ties into the next thing I want to discuss first. So Ben's discussion with Azmuth, because he first runs away, and that's where it took me a minute to try. I don't know why it wasn't letting me pause right away when I was like wanting to pause. But Ben running out of the rust bucket, I'm like, I don't know. I think it's because he's overwhelmed. He doesn't know what to do because the Omnitrix is not with him anymore. He doesn't know what he doesn't know what to do. But Gwen makes a point, but Ben's not really listening. But Gwen comes out there and says, look, it's not so much about the tool, it's about the man. Even though Ben's not a man, but whatever. The point's still valid. it's not about so much the tool, it's the person who uses it. But also, it's like Ben makes a good point, and I have to agree. It's the most powerful thing in the galaxy, unless you start getting to like other dimensional stuff where it's like a kid's toy or whatever. The whole episode there, which was way above the Omnitrix. But the fact that Ben didn't have it. But then talking with Azmuth, and Azmuth kind of reiterating what we kind of found out within Classic, because the fact that Ben was never meant to get the Omnitrix. And we saw the what if of when Gwen got it back in the Classic series, but finding out that Max was supposed to be the one to get it, and the DNA was so close that it accepted Ben. And then, of course, Asmon's like, look, I talked to Max, and he argued in favor of you keeping it when it should have went to him. And I like the conversation, because Azmuth was just being really honest, because like, Ben, you really made me mad. You went against my, I would say orders, because essentially you went in and broke. Like, you went in and was basically breaking the barriers that I had placed on the Omnitrix, and you were breaking into it, and you weren't supposed to do that. And look what happened to Kevin and thing. And then that refers to how Kevin gets cured, because sometimes not doing anything is exactly what you need to do. And that's kind of what was mentioned within the Time Heals episode, because that's what Professor Paradox mentioned. Sometimes the best thing to do is to do nothing at all. Because in this instance, Ben choosing to do nothing was to basically self-destruct the Omnitrix, which did not destroy the galaxy, but it destroyed the Watch, which means he can't use it, unfortunate, but also it means that VILGAX can't use it, and he was willing to destroy the Omnitrix. And it seemed that Azmuth was okay with that, because they kind of both landed on that same wavelength of understanding what needed to be done in this moment, because if it's destroyed, VILGAX can't use it. And this also, the Ultimatrix is still there, and of course now Ben has it, and it's like a longer device now, which is kind of crazy, but it's nice to know that Ben has now a new Omnitrix, Ultimatrix. So that's going to be getting some used to in terms of calling it that, because I'm so used to the Omnitrix. But it definitely was crazy. It definitely was crazy to see how this. We didn't see Albedo escape, by the way, so I wonder where he went. I'm assuming he'll still play a role in the future. It was a crazy episode. It was. I'm gonna miss watching this show, even though Ultimate Alien's coming right around the corner. So it's not like the show's completely over, or the franchise, the continuity. But like, I really missed watching like this show, and I'm assuming there's going to be some differences within Ultimate Alien. I don't know what exactly. I'm guessing with the new Ultimatrix and the new Ultimate Aliens and everything that's going to come into the mix, it's going to be switching it up. But I'm expecting there to be some changes. We'll see what happens. But like, realistically, would a new Omnitrix warrant a new show? I don't know, but I'm guessing there's going to be some other changes as well to warrant this to be a new series to follow. We'll see what happens. But it definitely was crazy to kind of see how this show started off with Ben getting the Omnitrix back again, and then it basically updating, reprogramming, rebooting, whatever it did. I know it's one of those things. And then he got new aliens. And then to see Kevin in the mix, and then all that. And then Gwen, and now look where we ended up being, to where they're all kind of friends. And of course, Gwen is referring to Kevin as her boyfriend, and Gwen and Kevin actually kissed in this episode. The reason why Kevin was still the amalgamation, the monster, if you will, what happened after the explosion, is because the Omnitrix was still active. It was still functioning. As soon as it was destroyed, Kevin, like, freaking out, holding his head, but then he was able to come back. He's back to being human again, and his powers are back, which is really cool too. I've actually missed those. He was very useful when he figured out how to use his amalgamation powers with his different, material that's on him. But it's cool that now he's back to this. So that's cool, because that will lead into the new show as well, to where now he's back to his powers that were introduced in Alien Force. So that's really cool. We're going back to that, because I actually did miss that, because it was a cool switch up for the character. yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to process because there was so much stuff they did. The one thing I really do appreciate about Alien Force as a whole, to kind of briefly talk about that a little bit, is the fact that Alien Force, within its first 2 seasons, had other, singular villains or whatever, and villains of the week. But the overarching narrative, which was something they had done a little bit within Classic, but the main thing was the actual hybrid. The fact that they were the actual focal point of the first 2 seasons in terms of the overarching narrative they were kind of developing and everything. It was really well done. So I really appreciated that. And it is still weird the fact that they, Cartoon Network tried to meddle with this show within season 3, but we got some really like insane over the top moments within those episodes. The fact that gold poop is actually a thing. It's the most ridiculous thing, in my opinion, in terms of what this show has done or what this franchise has done. But it was because it was basically a fuck you to Cartoon Network for trying to mess with their show. And I feel like they definitely turned it around towards the end in terms of giving us some proper good episodes to really wrap up the series. Because if they would have continued to allow Cartoon Network to meddle and mess with their show within season 3 and continue to the very end of the season, I don't know if I'd be saying that. Like, oh, they ended on a really good note, at least in my opinion. These episodes were bonkers. There's a lot going on. It's going to be hard to edit. It really is. So, Alien Force is now done. Ultimate Alien is now coming up next. I do plan on doing a live stream probably the next week after this episode drops. And I'll be talking more about that as we're getting closer to it. But I plan on doing a live stream to discuss with hopefully other people who've watched the show, like I did before a number of weeks back, but a number of weeks back. And getting those people on, hopefully maybe getting some other people. We'll see about that in terms of guests. But the goal is to actually have now a full discussion of Alien Force, a full discussion of Classic as well, and just to talk about the 2 series and everything. It's definitely been interesting and a fun ride, and it's crazy to think it's over, but it's a weird feeling. It's like at the same time the show's over, but at the same time it's like it's not actually over. Like Alien Force is done, yes, but there's still more to go. So good stuff. But anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed my reaction. I really had a good time. I'm hopefully going to figure out how to edit this thing without getting into copyright trouble. But yeah, this was a really fun way to end out. And now we have a new Omnitrix, the Ultimatrix. Ultimatrix. I got to get used to that. Anyways, apologies if I flub that later down the road, because I probably will flub it once or twice or maybe more. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace out.